Hello, everyone. It's Thor. Today, we are going to be talking about the December 2022 astrology predictions. And what we're going to really be taking a look at is what are the energy patterns that are going to be influencing the month of December. As many of you are well aware, over the last 2.5 years, we've been through tremendous upheaval and change. And I feel that when I look at the astrology for December, it's really showing that we're coming to a lot of endings in the month of December because January 2023 is going to present a lot of new energies and a lot of this Aries theme. Rahu's been transiting through Aries for quite a while now, but there's this new energy being brought in 2023. So December, there's this culmination, and there's a lot of this old system, a lot of the things that didn't work for us the last 2.5 years, they're really coming to a conclusion. So we're still in this process of shaking out these things. As many of you are also aware, we're in the middle of an ascension cycle. There's an evolution of consciousness that's happening. So the universe is forcing the planet, whether we want to go or not, to evolve in consciousness. So a lot of our past life traumas and a lot of our unhealed collective anger, our unhealed collective um, problems are being brought to the surface at this moment so that we can really bring awareness to them and then make the changes that we need to make. So those of you guys that are new to my channel, please make sure you like and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you can get all of my videos and learn astrology, because a lot of my videos are actually like mini classes. So many of you will appreciate that. Just so you know, this is Vedic sidereal astrology. It's not Western tropical astrology, so your sign may be different when we generate it using the Vedic sidereal zodiac. My goal is 10,000 subscribers. And if you're interested in getting a private reading, check the details down below. I have a special holiday discount running, so you may want to check that out. And also, I just want to give you the disclaimer. We're going to be talking about the financial markets just a little bit in this presentation, but make sure you always consult a qualified financial advisor about financial decisions. So let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of the energetic background to this month. I really wanted to focus on that before we get right into the planetary transits. I really wanted to make this month, this video more positive. So I wanted to see the big picture. What's the big picture? Because when we're looking at December, it's really, we're looking at the end of the year. So what kind of conclusions can we make about 2022? Where are we coming from, and where are we going in the future? So that's really important to take a look at. So oftentimes, I don't think we can read all of these, but oftentimes when we're stuck, there's something that must end or something that must be dissolved in order for us to grow. And this happens on individual and collective levels. So on an individual level, we could look at your astrology chart and maybe see you're going through a difficult Saturn period at the moment, and that could represent an energetic blockage. But collectively, we're going through an energetic shift as well. Now, when you think about Saturn has been going through the sign of Capricorn for the last 2.5 years. So that's really what the karma we've been dealing with. And I don't really even have to talk about it in the video. All of you know what the last 2.5 years have been about. Well, this has been a collective dark night of the soul. So this is what is really flavoring the month of December and the end of 2022. We've been going through this dark night of the soul. So what's 2023 going to bring in? Okay. Now, the calendar system, if you think about it, the Gregorian calendar system, there's a certain amount of arbitrariness about it. But what I want you to know is, even though 2023 represents a change in the calendar system, it really does sync up with this. Saturn is changing signs on January 17th, 2023. So it's going to be entering the sign of Aquarius. So this is going to bring in so much changes of karma. It really is bringing in a new deal or a new contract, so to speak. And it's in the 11th house. So there's a lot of changes happening with the people. And that's what's going to be 2023. We're going to make a video when we hit that mark, and we're going to talk more about what the Saturn karma is going to mean specifically individually and also collectively. So the old way of doing things, many of you are aware, it hasn't been working. So if we look at the economy right now, and we look at, there's a lot of people that are either struggling with, that they can't afford food or housing, and this is worldwide. So we're realizing this old way of doing things is not really working. So something has to give, something has to change. So that's what 2023 is actually going to be about. The changes are actually going to be starting to surface. We're actually going to start seeing those changes. So what we're seeing now is the old is really trying to, like, with an iron grip, stay in the power. That's really what's happening right now. So we're becoming aware as humanity that we're not really getting anywhere if we don't have compassion as a world, you know. So a lot of the world in the 20th century, especially when we look at the age of Pisces in the 20th century, has been very much focused on greed, very much focused on material acquisition. And so we're evolving out of that. And that's what the context of these predictions are about. We're evolving out of this old age of Pisces paradigm, and we're getting into this more age of Aquarius paradigm, which is how do we benefit collective humanity? How do we stop thinking on such a narrow-minded individual level, and we start thinking about the collective good? We start having more compassion. So that's where we're going. And now let's talk about the planetary transits and what I see specifically for December. So the December highlights, the one of the big things is you all might remember Mars is in retrograde right now. So that's really going to be flavoring the month of December, the Mars retrograde. It's in the sign of Taurus, which is the natural second house. So I feel that there's going to be a big focus on financial markets for the month of December. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of turbulence because when we look at the overall energetic vibe, we're seeing that there's a shift of, we're really trying to figure out, okay, how do we move forward out of the last 2.5 years? How do we move forward? But we're seeing the old way isn't necessarily working for a lot of people. So that's what's happening. Mars is coming into the sign of Taurus. And what is Mars doing? Mars is reorganized. Remember, in the natural zodiac, Mars is the eighth lord. It's all about transformation. It's all about destroying old things and rebirth. So that's what the eighth house is all about. It's the house of death and rebirth. And that's really what's happening. Something is being rebirthed. So we could see a lot of changes financially happening, but we could see a lot of drops because there's still a lot of endings happening. Many of you might be aware that the financial sectors, the financial markets have been taking, sorry, not the financial sectors, the tech jobs and the tech industry has been having a lot of layoffs. So they announced, thousands and tens of thousands of workers at, I believe, Amazon and I believe Facebook that are announced being laid off. And then recently we even had workers on Amazon announce there's a strike. So we're going to see more of this because the system's going through all these changes at the moment. And that's all due to Mars being retrograde in the sign of Taurus. On an individual level, the Mars retrograde is going to be bringing up a lot of repressed issues and repressed anger from your past. So there might be some old issue or some old resentment coming up in your life that's going to be brought to your attention so it can be resolved and so it can be healed. Let's go back to the highlights here. Rahu continues in Aries, so it's a very Martian type of month. And also the full moon. The full moon is in Taurus, and remember, Mars is going to be in Taurus. So that's why there's such a focus. Full moon is in Taurus on December 7th. Mars is retrograde through Taurus the whole time. So there's this real strong situation with financial markets. Now, on December 23rd, there is a new moon that's going to be happening in the sign of Sagittarius, and specifically, it's going to be happening in a nakshatra called Mula. And Mula is known as a nakshatra that is the nakshatra of destruction. So there's usually some sort of uh, destructive event that might happen around the time that Mula nakshatra is really being activated within a chart. And when we're looking at this, we're really looking at, the collective chart. We know already that things are going through change. So around December 23rd, you might want to mark that on your calendar, that we could be seeing some changes. There definitely could be some problems with the financial markets around that time. Even though I know the holidays are this month, we could definitely see some big shifts around the end of the month. Okay. Really bringing us into 2023. The thing to remember about all of this, we know that Saturn's going to be changing signs January 17th of 2023. So usually what you have happen is before Saturn makes a big move, it is a big move. I mean, Saturn stays in a sign for 2.3 years. It's a big deal when Saturn changes signs. But usually what happens is there's a chain of events that you'll see happen in your outer reality, really showing what's going on with the energy of Saturn. So in the month of December and early January, what I'm expecting that we're going to be seeing a chain reaction of different sorts of events that are really leading us to this new energy of Saturn being in the sign of Aquarius. So this month, we're likely to see some dominoes start falling. We're very likely to see some events. I do feel it's going to be financial, and definitely could be, related to other events happening around the world, especially with the wars and things going on like that. But I do see definitely some shifts happening there, and I don't see it being positive at this moment of time. But I think it doesn't take an astrologer to really uh, for you to know that, right? Because we already know the interest rates are going up. We know the housing market's already dropping. I do feel like the housing market is going to continue to drop as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. My predictions is on an individual level. I already said I do feel like we're going to have a lot of unhealed anger from the past being brought up. There's going to be a focus on the economy. Now, Sun is going to be in Scorpio for the first 2 weeks of December. So, Scorpio is all about healing, but it's also about bringing up a lot of trauma. So, I feel like the collective, we're going to be getting a lot of secrets. Scorpio is the natural eighth house, so it has to do with like secrets. Most likely, we're going to see more things coming out with scandals and things that are quite shocking that could be even affecting the markets. Many of you are aware that recently the whole FTX situation happened, and a lot of people have been shocked about that. And I feel like we're going to get a lot more information about things related to that. And also, we might see some other scandals pop up during this time. But what it's going to do is, it's like I said, it's this destruction of this old way of doing things, like this old system where there was a lot of corruption, but it's being brought to the light so that it can be healed and we can go into a better direction. Let's go back to the predictions here. I feel that the real estate prices are going to continue to drop. Again, I don't think that it takes an astrologer to let you know that. I think you guys already see that. Also, there's going to be major structural changes in the economy and with governments. Now, this is a little bit in the future, but I do see with Saturn going into Aquarius in 2023, I do feel like there's going to be a lot of government intervention in whatever happens with this new economy or this new restructuring of the financial system. I feel like we're likely to see, and what I'm feeling we're going to see is we're going to see a big change. And I'm talking about changes that we haven't seen since in the United States, FDR was in office with the New Deal and those type of things. I feel like we're going to get a lot of government policies where we could possibly even see a UBI. are the early prototype of a UBI in 2023. There's going to be a new type of system, and it's going to be very focused on middle class and average people, since Aquarius represents the natural 11th house, which is like the masses. So I do feel like there's going to be a lot of programs and government intervention coming out because of the food insecurity that we're likely to see in 2023. So I do feel like governments around the world are going to be taking a lot of proactive action. I don't feel like we're going to see anything like, the Great Depression. A lot of doomsday sayers come out and think that we're going to have another Great Depression. I think those lessons have been learned, and I don't think the governments nowadays are going to allow that to happen. And based on the astrology, I don't feel like it's going to happen at all. So I want to thank you all for being here and joining me for this December 2022 predictions. I wish all of you and your family happy holidays. And I wish you a beautiful new year. And of course, I'm going to be popping out more videos during the month of December as well, with chart readings and other types of classes with astrology. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think down below. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that you can get more notifications when I release new videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.